"I'm sorry for being rude the other day," said Eliza, who's usually sarcastic, as she lowered her head. Maybe she was really apologizing this time. So I let my guard down, but I had no idea things were about to get much more serious, involving the police. "My name is Lisa, and I work as a daycare teacher, a job I've wanted since I was a child. I've been married to my husband, Jace, for 3 years. One lazy day off, we got a call from my mother-in-law, Eliza. "You haven't visited us in 6 months. Come over soon," she said. Hearing her voice, Jace frowned. Even though their house is only a 30-minute drive, Jace isn't keen on visiting. His mom tends to meddle too much, which annoys him. Since we got married, Eliza has made sly remarks, almost as if she blames me for taking away her only son. I don't enjoy visiting, but ignoring her calls would only make things worse. Last time we didn't visit, she showed up at our house unannounced. So, to avoid that, we decided to go. Sure enough, as soon as we arrived after 6 months, the sarcastic comments started. Eliza kept pestering us about not having kids yet. "You're too busy working to have children. A woman should stay at home," she said. Her husband, Derek, is a retired middle school teacher who used to work long hours. Eliza often brags about how she raised Jace all by herself. When Eliza made a snide remark about me working, Jace immediately defended me. "Lisa works because being a daycare teacher is her dream," he said. "This year, I'm in charge of the senior class at the daycare, and I want to see them through graduation." I explained to Eliza that we're not planning to have kids yet, but my explanation only led to more insults. I was against her marriage from the start. "What good does a daycare teacher even do for society? You're just playing with kids all day, aren't you?" she said. Her words stung, but I held back my anger and gave her a wry smile. I couldn't let every comment get to me, especially since once she started criticizing, she wouldn't stop. These days, mothers are terrible for leaving their kids so young. "I wonder if it's mostly single moms or poor families," she said with an exaggerated sigh. I can't tolerate her remarks about me not having kids or working, but her prejudices about parents really pushed my buttons. "Look," I said firmly, "parents are doing their best to balance work and raising their kids. What you do spending so much time with your child is admirable, but not every family can afford to have a stay-at-home parent. Please stop making such comments." Eliza snapped back. "How dare you argue with me when you can't even have children?" As Eliza and I glared at each other, her husband, Derek, finally stepped in. "Eliza, you're out of line. Watch your words," he said. I was surprised by Derek's defense, usually quiet during our visits, but Eliza ignored him. "What's wrong with speaking the truth? Children left in daycare probably won't turn out well," she continued. Jace had enough. He quickly started gathering his things. "Let's go, Lisa," he said angrily. Eliza tried to stop him, but he was already heading for the door without looking back. "He's so cold to me since he got married," she cried, growing hysterical. But the truth is, Jace's behavior isn't new. Ever since he moved out, he's questioned Eliza's constant meddling. I was shocked when I learned it. She used to let herself into his apartment with her own key and go through his mail. As I stood frowning, Eliza turned to me and shouted, "What are you waiting for? Go get Jace. Call Jace back here right now," Eliza demanded after he had already left the house. I felt annoyed. Why was she giving me orders like this? "It's sad, isn't it?" I said, finally snapping. "You're always around, but you're disliked. You mistake it for love, but it's really just interference. Thanks for showing me exactly how not to raise a child." I was still upset over her harsh comments about daycare parents, and since I knew we wouldn't see each other for a while, I decided to let it all out. It felt good to say what I'd been holding in, but Eliza's face turned red with anger. "You regret this? I'll kick a nasty woman like you out of my house," she shouted, slamming the door behind me. As I walked out, I thought to myself, well, I guess this means no calls or visits for a while. Outside, Jace was waiting for me, and I told him what had happened. "Good for you for standing up to her," he said. "We'll probably have some peace now." His words reassured me. though I still felt a bit unsettled by Eliza's parting words. If she doesn't reach out, maybe we can't skip visiting for Christmas, I joked. A few days later, just got a message from Eliza. She invited us to a pizza party and said she regretted her behavior and wanted to apologize to me. What do you think? Just asked. I hesitated. I'm not sure I believe she'll actually apologize. The olives on the pizza are from my friend's farm. They're supposed to be amazing. Just said with a grin. Let's just go. And if she starts with her snide comment, we'll take the pizza and leave. I couldn't help but laugh. Just really loves pizza. Alright, let's go. I'm curious to see if she'll actually apologize. On our next day off, we went to Eliza's house. To my surprise, as soon as we arrived, she apologized sincerely. I'm sorry for the insensitive things I said the other day. Can you forgive me? Eliza asked, sounding like a completely different person. After Eliza apologized, the atmosphere felt lighter. We chatted and laughed, something that hadn't happened since I married Jace. Eliza even portioned out slices of pizza for everyone. A considerate gesture. She explained that she's a bit of a germaphobe, even with family, which made her handling the food herself make sense. The pizza smelled amazing. As we sat her day down, Eliza mentioned Derek was still working in the yard and told us to start without him. Guess we'll dig in then, Jace said, grabbing a slice and taking a big bite. I followed his lead, eager to try the highly praised olives. The pizza looked great with colorful veggies on top, but when I took a bite, something seemed off. The bacon was juicy, and the vegetables were tasty, but the olives and asparagus didn't have any fragrance. I quietly leaned toward Jace and asked, "Do you taste or smell the olives on your pizza?" He nodded casually, as though it was obvious, assuming I might have a mouth cold affecting my senses. I kept eating. About 20 minutes later, Derek came in from the yard and sat her down. I must have looked puzzled as I inspected my pizza because he asked, "What's wrong?" "I don't smell any olives or asparagus," I admitted. From the kitchen, Eliza called out, "Oh, they're there. Trust me." Her cheerful tone was followed by laughter. But then, Derek's expression turned serious. He slammed my plate off the table, sending it crashing to the floor. "Spit it out. How much did you eat?" he shouted. Shocked by his outburst, I stammered, I ate a few slices." Des, confused, asked, "What's going on?" But Derek ignored him, urgently insisting I spit out whatever I'd eaten. Meanwhile, Eliza stayed in the kitchen, silent despite Derek's yelling. Feeling dizzy and nauseous, I stumbled to the bathroom. As soon as I got there, I began throwing up violently. Sweat poured down my face, and I felt myself losing strength. Before collapsing, I vaguely heard Derek shouting, "Call an ambulance now." His voice was followed by more yelling, this time directed at Eliza, who still hadn't come out of the kitchen. The next thing I knew, I was waking up in a hospital bed. Apparently, I had fainted due to dehydration from vomiting so much. Just Saturday by my side, looking worried and almost in tears. "You're going to be fine," he assured me. "We got you treated right away." Then he explained what had happened. The pizza I ate contained red spider lily, a highly poisonous plant. Though its flowers are beautiful, the bulb looks like olives, and the stem resembles asparagus, making it easy to mistake for food. Derek, acting quickly, had sent a piece of the pizza to be tested, and the analysis confirmed the presence of red spider lily. "Is Jace okay?" I asked, concerned since he had also eaten the pizza. Jace hesitated before answering. "We had all the pizzas checked, but only yours had the red spider lily." A chill ran down my spine. Someone had deliberately poisoned my pizza. The only person who could have done it was Eliza, since she made the pizza herself. The doctor informed us they were required to report the incident to the health department. After hearing what happened, the doctor suggested contacting the police, finding Eliza's actions suspicious. Jace agreed, though he seemed overwhelmed. "I can't think of her as my mother anymore," he said. "She's a criminal. What if Dad hadn't noticed?" I shuddered, remembering stories of people dying from rat spider lily poisoning. The thought that I could have been one of them terrified me. When we were discharged, we called Derek. He had left multiple voicemails and texts, but what truly unsettled me was the silence from Eliza. When we finally got through to her, her only response was, "It was a mistake," but I couldn't believe her. Deep down, I knew she did it on purpose. Even Derek, who was usually calm and quiet, seemed upset. "I've been holding back, but I can't anymore. She's gone too far," he said. When Derek revealed shocking details about Eliza's actions, both Jace and I were stunned. Eliza had pretended she wanted to apologize, but her real plan was to harm me. Anger boiled inside both of us, and we decided to confront her directly. When we arrived at my in-laws' house, Eliza was sitting there, looking tired. It seemed Derek had already scolded her. But when she saw me, she didn't apologize or even look concerned. Instead, she said, "I never thought Derek would catch on. I was hoping to get rid of you, audacious woman that you are." Just couldn't hold back his anger. "You've got to be kidding me. You're a criminal." Eliza flinched at being called a criminal by her own son, but she didn't back down. "I did it for Jace's sake. If he stays with you, he'll never have a real family or children. I'll find him a better partner. So just leave." Her lack of remorse shocked me. "So, you mixed red spider lily into my food on purpose. You wanted to kill me. Was this all planned?" "Yes," she admitted with chilling calm. "The red spider lily grows nearby. It's easy to get. It's a shame you didn't eat more. You would have done more than just throw up." Des, overcome with rage, lunged at her, but I stopped him. Instead, I reached into my pocket and pulled out a voice recorder. "Eliza, you've just confessed to trying to harm me, and I have it all recorded. I'll be filing a report with the police." Eliza's face turned pale at the mention of the police. "You'd sent your own family to prison." "Yes," I replied firmly. Derek and Jace agreed. I continued, "And you've done the same to Derek before?" I recounted what Derek had told me one night after a fight. He noticed something strange about the food she had made for him. There was no smell of olive on the pizza, and being a former teacher cautious about food safety, he immediately suspected red spider lily. Derek had faked a stomach ache and didn't touch the pizza. Later that night, after Eliza went to bed, he checked the trash can and found remnants of red spider lily. Recognizing the danger, he was terrified but acted quickly to warn me. "I can't tolerate it if it's just me," he said, "but I can't let someone important to my son get hurt." Derek, who had long relied on Eliza's support to focus on his work, had always avoided thinking about divorce. She had helped raise Jace, and that made it harder for him to consider leaving. But this time, her actions had gone too far. Knowing she had intentionally used red spider lily to harm me, he finally resolved to end their marriage. "We're getting divorced," Derek said firmly. Eliza, who never imagined he'd leave her, was shocked. "How am I supposed to live now?" she asked. "I'll give you this house," Derek replied calmly. "We also have savings that'll be your retirement fund. Once we divide the property, you'll be fine." His words showed he had thought everything through, and Eliza barely had a chance to respond. As Derek and Eliza discussed the divorce, I prepared to leave with Jace. "We're heading to the police station now," I said. "Please cooperate once the investigation begins." At the station, my damage report against Eliza was accepted, and the investigation into her actions began. Not long after, Eliza started calling us almost daily, her voice full of desperation. "Please retract the damage report," she begged. Derek followed through with the divorce and moved out soon after. Between the police investigation and just leaving, rumors about Eliza spread throughout the neighborhood. Though she repeatedly pleaded for help, I couldn't find any sympathy for her. Her persistent calls wore me down, but I had had enough. I finally said, "Fine, I'll retract the damage report but never show your face to us again." And with that, we severed ties with her completely. I made it clear to Eliza, "Even if we have a grandchild, you won't meet them. If you try to approach us, I'll involve the police." That seemed to shake her deeply, as she had been equally awaiting the idea of becoming a grandmother. However, it seemed that avoiding a criminal record was more important to her. In the end, Eliza agreed to pay me settlement money, likely using funds from the property division she received in her divorce from Derek. It must have significantly drained her savings. Once the payment was made, I withdrew the damage report against her. I later heard from Derek that Eliza couldn't handle the gossip spreading through the neighborhood. She sold her house and moved into a cheap rental in Philadelphia. Despite this, she began calling Derek, pleading to reconcile. Derek firmly rejected her advances, making it clear that there was no chance of them getting back together. From now on, it seems Eliza would face a lonely life on her own. As for Derek, he moved closer to where we live. Over time, I've come to admire and appreciate him for his steadfast support and reliability. I know that, even if we have grandchildren in the future, Derek will always be there to protect them,